In 2017, about 1,000 people were shot and killed by law enforcement officers in the United States. In December, an international body of human rights experts held a hearing to address the lack of accountability for police killings across the United States. The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights is a body of the Organization of American States and can hear claims of human rights violations committed in U.S. territory. The hearing highlighted tragedies like the killing of Dontre Hamilton, a 31-year-old unarmed black man diagnosed with schizophrenia who was shot 14 times and killed by a Milwaukee police officer in a park on April 30, 2014. Testimony was also heard from family members of Luis Gongarapat, a homeless Mayan immigrant who was beloved by the community in San Francisco's Mission District and in Teabo, Yucatan. Luis was peacefully sitting on a sidewalk when police approached him and almost immediately shot and killed him, disregarding established protocols on the use of lethal force. Maria Hamilton, mother of police-involved shooting victim Dontre Hamilton and founder of Mothers for Justice.
I'm here today for the thousands of mothers who have lost their loved ones to police violence in the United States. There has been no justice in any of these shootings. There has been no justice for us as family members.
This is a recurring problem that demands a solution. News outlets and CDC data have reported that close to 1,000 people have been shot and killed by police officers every year in the United States for the past 3 years since 2015. Discrimination exacerbates this problem in vulnerable communities. African Americans, Native Americans, and Latinos are most affected by police-involved shootings. Those experiencing mental illness and homelessness are also disproportionately impacted. Luis Putpat, cousin of police-involved shooting victim, Luis Gongarapat.
Desde el momento de su asesinato hasta la fecha, hoy casi a 2 años, no hemos recibido ningún tipo de ayuda. No nos permitieron identificar el cadáver de mi primo. No nos hicieron saber nada a ninguno de los familiares aquí en este país. Estamos luchando por justicia. El fiscal del distrito de San Francisco no nos quiere dar ninguna información a los familiares acá, ni a los familiares en México. Nos ha destrozado nuestra familia y así como tantas otras familias que estamos luchando para que se nos haga justicia, para que estas muertes de nuestra familia no quede impune.
The overwhelming majority of law enforcement officers are never charged, let alone convicted, for using excessive force against civilians. Adriana Camarena, political activist and resident of San Francisco's Mission District.
I would like to say that this was an uncommon occurrence in San Francisco, but unfortunately it has become all too common. From 2014 to 2016, there were 11 police killings, 9 of them of people of color. During that period, there have been mass protests. There has even been a hunger strike that led to the ousting of the then chief of police, Greg Suhr.
According to international human rights law, individuals are guaranteed the right to be free from arbitrary deprivation of life and to have access to effective remedies for human rights violations. Sean King, activist and writer.
From my own research, I've determined that somewhere around 40% of all fatal police shootings were genuinely hard to avoid with the circumstances we have in this country. Today, I want to lean in just for a moment into the 60% of people who've been killed by police in circumstances that were wholly avoidable. Many of these men, women, and children were having mental health emergencies and desperately needed a medical intervention. And they would have received such a thing in most developed nations around the world.
The Inter-American Commission recognizes that racial discrimination in policing and in the criminal justice system is symptomatic of a wider social problem in context of racism in the United States. The Commission also acknowledges that states have a special duty to investigate and prosecute police misconduct, and has urged the U.S. to conduct exhaustive, impartial, independent, effective, and prompt investigations. Commissioner Margaret May McCulley, Inter-American Commission on Human Rights.
One needs an independent body to investigate the police. It cannot be the police itself investigating itself, nor ought it to be prosecutors who work closely with the police.
Coming up soon, the Inter-American Commission will publish a report with recommendations for the United States. In its report, the Commission will incorporate findings from the testimony presented at the December 7th hearing and from comprehensive reports submitted by the petitioners. Excessive police force, especially against people of color, will continue to plague the United States until aggressive remedial action is taken.